Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dom. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I typically make bookish content, movie content, and anything else in between because I like to do whatever I want on this channel, and today's going to be bookish content. So to keep up with this vlogmas feel that I've been kind of failing at because who knows how many videos I've posted by now, I decided to go over every book that's on my wish list. If you know me, every year for Christmas people are like, what do you want? I kind of just give them a list of books. Sometimes vinyl records and Funko Pops are on it, but it's mostly books. So let's talk about them. So the first 5 books I have on my wish list, and these are just they come in a bundle, but it's the Flowers in the Attic series. Everyone always makes a reference to this when they're talking about like creepy relationships with children. I've never read the series. I don't even know what it's about. I don't want to look up what it's about because books like this, I've noticed synopses tend to spoil it. So that's why I don't want to know what it's about, but I want to understand the references, and I've heard the series is very, very creepy. Then I have Descender Volume 2. That's because I own Volume 1. I haven't read it yet, but I do know it's about a robot boy. And this is by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Then we have an Avatar comic. We have Avatar: The Last Airbender Imbalance. This is by Faith Erin Hicks. So if you're new here, Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show of all time. I am trying to get my hands on the comics. This one has a different author than the first 5, I think. The comics are considered canon. They're very controversial within the fandom. And from what I read the first 3, I've read The Promise, The Search, and The Rift, and from what I remember, there's a lot of weird character dynamics. Like, many of the characters are out of character if you compare them to the show. There's one character arc I do not like at all. I'm very pissed they're going in the direction they're going, but that's a whole other rant that I'm not going to get into. But despite what I think about these comics, I still love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I still want to know what's going on within the Avatar world. Hence this comic. And it has a different author. And I love the art of these comics, of the new ones coming out, than I do of the original 4, 5, whatever. So, I'm excited to read this. I know nothing about Imbalance, and I want to keep it that way until I read it. So the next 3 books on my wish list I just have because I want to make a video where I read my dad's favorite books. I want to read 4 of those books. I only own 1. So then the next 3 are The Godfather by Mario Puzo. I've seen the movie. Great movie. We have Shane by Jack Schaefer. And then we have Alive, The Story of the Andes Survivors by Piers Paul Read. My dad said Alive freaked him out, so I know Shane is about a cowboy from what I remember what he told me. Alive is the story of cannibals. So, then we have Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This has been on my Goodreads TBR since like pre-college. This is about a girl whose mother and sister died when she was 7 and she thinks her brother killed them. I didn't want to read any more of the synopsis because, again, when it comes to like creepy thrillers and mysteries, synopses tend to spoil a lot, and when it comes to thrillers, I like to go in blind. I have read Gone Girl and I have read Sharp Edges by Gillian Flynn, and I loved those, so I would love to read Dark Places as well. Then we have The Stranger by Albert Camus, because I know he's French. A lot of my friends had to read this in high school. I somehow got away with never having to read it in high school. We have Journey to the End of the Night by Louis Ferdinand Celine. Again, I know a lot of people had to read this in high school, somehow I never had to. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Never had to read this in high school. So many of my friends did, and I know the famous phrase Catch-22 is based off this book. I know what the phrase means, but I want to know the context of it, you know? Then we have Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is arguably her most famous book. I have not read it. A lot of my friends did. I have read Song of Solomon by her, which I really enjoyed, and I would love to read this one. This is about a girl named Sethe, S-E-T-H-E. She was born a slave, but she escaped, but she still doesn't feel free, and she's haunted by the ghost of her child who has died. And there's one engraving on her gravestone, and that is Beloved. Song of Solomon got to me a few times, so I have a feeling this book would like crush my heart. Then we have a Silent Voice box set by Yoshitoki Oima. So this is a manga series that I've seen the movie, and the movie destroyed me. So this is about a boy who bullied a deaf girl in his childhood, and now that he's older, he wants to make amends. He wants to become her friend as a way of apologizing. And there's a lot of immense guilt that he feels, and the story is essentially a guilty guy who's learning to forgive himself. Destroyed me. I was in tears watching this movie. Then we have Avatar: The Last Airbender Legacy. This book is an adult Aang's point of view, and he wrote it as a letter to his son Tenzin. We have The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgen Burnett, and from what I remember of the movie when I was younger, it's about this girl whose parents died in India, so she moves in with her family. She has a cousin who could be a little nasty at times. He's believed to be deathly ill. They escape to the garden and they find a secret garden that the adults don't know about. Then we have The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch. This is about a guy who dies, so he goes to heaven, and he finds out heaven is about 5 people explaining your life to you and wondering why you're here. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I had a lot of friends read this in high school. Again, another classic I somehow got away with never having to read. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. Again, another classic a lot of my friends had to read and I got away with not reading it. How did I miss so many classics in high school? American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, which I heard is very controversial, and my toxic trait is that once you make a book controversial, I must read it because I just want to see what everyone's talking about. Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. We all know what Lolita's about, and again, make a book controversial, I'm gonna read it because I want to see what you're talking about. Another Avatar comic, Avatar The Last Airbender, North and South. This is by the original author, Gene Luen Yang. This is the last comic he wrote before other authors took over. Avatar The Last Airbender, Katara and the Pirate Silver by Frank Aaron Hicks and Peter Wortman. And I know this takes place within the show, which makes no sense to me, like knowing how the show is, so I feel like they would have to retcon a few things. But I haven't read it yet. I'll wait to judge until then. And then I want some of the Korra comics as well. We have Legend of Korra, Ruins of the Empire. This is by one of the original creators of the show, Michael Dante DiMartino, and then Michelle Wong. And then also the Legend of Korra, Turf Wars, and this is by both the creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know, actually I don't know if they're the authors or Amazon just has it labeled really weird. Next we have The Legend of Korra and Avatar's Chronicle. So this is the same idea as Legacy, you know, Aang's letter to his son. So this is Korra's letter to the Avatar after her, because if you've seen the show, you understand why that's such a big deal. But she's not sure if the Avatar after her will be able to speak to her like the other Avatars were able to speak to previous Avatars. This is her letter to the Earth Kingdom Avatar, just in case. Then we have, this is a lot of Avatar, but then we have Avatar The Last Airbender, the art of the animated series. I love art books like this. I love seeing the process, and I have seen some pictures on Instagram of everyone's like original prototype and like why things were changed, and I just love seeing things from beginning to the final product, and I'm excited for this. Then we have Avatar The Last Airbender, Legacy of the Fire Nation. Same concept as Legacy and same concept as the Korra book. So this is Uncle Iroh's letter to Zuko. And this one actually brings in other stuff from the comics, so I'm very excited to read it. So then I have 2 Tokyo Ghoul art books. We have Tokyo Ghoul Illustrations Zaki and Tokyo Ghoul Re-Illustrations Zaki. And these are by Sui Ishida, the original author. And what I know, it's like the same, again, same concept as the art of the animated series for Avatar. He talks about his writing process, his art process, how things changed over time. And if you know me, I finished the Tokyo Ghoul manga this year. I absolutely adore it, and I would love to see the making of it. And his artwork is insane. Those last few chapters blew me away with some of the artwork. Then we have Tokyo Ghoul Void. This is not by Sui Ishida, but Tokyo Ghoul does have 3 like light novellas. They take place within the story, and they're just like side stories, like the characters go out to eat or something like that. I have the first 2. Void is just the last one I need. Then we have the Arabian Nights. I like to read a big book every year. This year's was Under the Dome. Haven't finished it yet. But next year's is the Arabian Nights, and that's it. That's why I want this one. Then we have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. It's about a woman named Janie who is an independent black woman of the 1930s. Then we have the Avatar The Last Airbender cookbook. All these recipes are inspired by actual foods you see in the show. I love cooking. I love Avatar The Last Airbender, so why not have Avatar The Last Airbender cookbook? Then we have Homegoing by Yangyazi. This book is about the parallel paths of 2 sisters and the 8 generations after them. And the last 2 books on my list are both by Junji Ito, and that is Smashed and Shiver. And both of these books are just collected works of Junji Ito. So that is it for the books on my wish list. I just wanted to talk about them because Christmas, books, what have you. Let me know down in the comments below if you want any books for Christmas, what book you're looking forward to finding underneath your tree. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, y'all know the drill. And without further ado, I'm gonna peace out and I'll see you guys later. Ciao a tutti.